I was debating whether to record this video or not. Sometimes I overshare, and I'm aware of that. Like, is it wise? Is it prudent to keep sharing so much, especially personal information? Um, I don't care about people's opinions and projections onto me. That's never bothered me. So I don't have embarrassment in that way. So I don't genuinely couldn't care less, because I often think that if people's opinions of you based on your like wealth or lack of, then that's up to them, because you can either base it on the person or you can base it on what they have. If you base opinion based on haves, it's just that's so materialistic. It's so superficial. I don't care, because that side of our life can change. It's very unlikely your personality is going to change. So, I just think you either invest in people or see the qualities in people, or you see the qualities in their bank balance. But if you're going to attach yourself superficially to people, that obviously means that when the bank balance reduces, your interest reduces too. So that's the thing with people. So before we go too deep here, because it's going to be it's going to be deep. I want to make the point that throughout my life, even as a little boy, I always said to the universe, I want to meet someone, like a genuine relationship, the person you're going to marry. I want to meet them when I haven't got anything. And I've said that for my whole life. I always said that. Maybe practically you don't think deep enough about how that's going to feel. It's not a nice place to be in. But I want someone to be with me for me, not for what I have. I mean, I will eventually give them the world. I've got no doubt about that. But first and foremost, I want them to see me for who I am. And I want them to sort of love me for who I am, not what I have. And I've always felt that in my heart. A bit cheesy, I guess, but that's what I've always felt. And right now, like, I couldn't be, if you're talking financially, I could not be lower. It is frustrating as hell, believe me. It's not fair. And it can affect your morale. Like I was like, just now, I was like really pissed, in all honesty, assessing the month ahead and trying to figure it out. And it's way worse than you think. And I'm thinking, normally I can find a way through, just sort this, change this date, move that about. I'm good like that. So I can cope well in reduced finances and troubled circumstances. But this month ahead, it's like, there's just no way. This is just chaos. It's almost like a minefield. When I went through family court, for instance, we was talking about finances over a different situation, and like my solicitor said, well, you can't get blood out of a stone. And it's not something I've really heard much in my life, but it's stayed with me. So when times are incredibly tough, and you might say something to someone, they go, well, yeah, I'll definitely pay that, or I'll definitely pay that, or yeah, don't want to mess that one up. It's like, look, you can't pay what you haven't got. It's impossible. Everybody wants a piece, but you can't give everybody a piece when there's so little left. So I want to start this video by making it clear. I don't seek sympathy. I've never sought sympathy in my whole life. I don't seek anybody to help me. I don't do any of that. I don't ask for support. That's not in me. So I don't do any GoFundMe shits. You won't see a link to this, a link to that. Can you see? That's not about this. This is about raising awareness. And I thought, that's why I'm saying, should I bother telling it, or should I just get on with it this month? But I just recognize that if you look at me, I don't know people's impressions, of course. But I would argue, the question I'd put there, do I seem like someone who doesn't have confidence, who doesn't know where they're going in life? Do I look like someone that's a bit insecure? I don't know if I come across it that way, but I can tell you right now, I have no insecurity in me at all. I know where I'm heading in life. So someone could judge me right now. And okay, you could argue that, because that's often said, isn't it? Who you are today is who you are. So yeah, absolutely. People can judge if they choose to, but they're going to look foolish, I'd say, in a year or so, maybe even sooner. Things can happen quite quick when where life does turn around. So you can judge me in a moment, but things will improve. So with that in mind, I just thought about it in general, and I thought, if you don't talk about it now, first of all, I hear people's journeys. I think it's Alex Warren, the singer. I like his music. It's Ordinary. It's such a great song. That's so like empowering when you listen to it. It's so like the way he sings it. It's great. And I only saw something very briefly where he said he was homeless, and someone was surprised, like he was genuinely homeless. And it's that thing, because I thought, how inspiring! What an inspiring story! Like he's literally just performed. I think it's the American Music Awards. It looked incredible, and he's selling out arenas and all sorts. And it's like, yeah, a lot of the time when you hear success stories, like genuine success stories, a lot of those people have literally been at their lowest. They've been poor. They've been bankrupt. It's very rare. I mean, not impossible, because some people, of course, they're born into wealth. A very, very high majority of people who are successful were struggling at the beginning of their career. Even Chris Pratt, I've seen his story where he just worked as like a cafe, a coffee shop or something, and he was living in his van or something. He wasn't doing very well at all. And someone come in who they had connections to Hollywood, and like he had charisma, so he was just like talking to him as he would. And there was an audition, and they offered him an audition. Then he got a part, and they paid for his flights out to I think Los Angeles or wherever they were going. But his life turned around out of nowhere. And the thing is, that's the thing. You don't know where the opportunities come, but the point there is, you look how successful they are. Look where they were. So I'm not here to try and I'm trying to maybe I'm painting a picture slightly, but I just think people are too quick to judge. And I'm just trying to preempt that a little bit, I guess, by showing people that don't be quick to judge people, because you'll come across stupid in the future. So don't project. That's the thing, because I know people naturally do. They'll look at their life and they'll say, well, just do this, just do that, do that. It's like, that's your life. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, and I'm not trying to tell people. I'm just trying to show the circumstance. You can consider whether something's fair, whether it's not. That's not for me to decide how someone perceives it. I'm just going to share, and then it's like, it's up to people then, isn't it? So there is a politician in the UK, and I hear his name, and I know I don't like this guy. And he keeps posturing as though he's doing things great. I think he was running for prime minister at one point, a very low entry. But I keep seeing his name pop up, and that's Robert Jenrick. I can't remember how you say it. Don't like the guy. He imposed when he was in. I think he was in the house. It was a house. Go and check him up, because I remember this quite well. I don't have to look. He was to deal with housing. That was his role. So they get put in certain departments. There was a period of his career where he was dealing with housing, and he's the one that implemented the bedroom tax. And so effectively, if you live in a home and it's deemed you have more rooms than you should, and you receive social benefits, I don't know what you'd call it. Let's say social benefits, social security, you will have money reduced from your payments because you're deemed to not need that much space. So to put that into context, it's completely not fit for purpose. You could have someone, let's say they live in London, wherever they are. Let's say they've got a 2-bedroom home, right? And let's say their rent is about £1,000 a month. You could have a 2-bedroom home in a different area, town, and maybe it's £500 a month. So they're paying 1,000, you're paying 500. Let's say part of your benefits is your rent will get covered while you're struggling. So we'll pay you your 500, we'll pay you your 1,000. But wait a minute, you live on your own. I'm just saying generally. Let's keep it simple a minute. You live on your own, so you don't need that much space. You could drop down to a small accommodation. So we're going to take a percentage off of your rent. So instead of the 500, we're going to pay you 400, because you don't need that many rooms. We don't think you do. We're going to pay you 400 now. Okay, but you're still paying the other person £1,000 though. Mine was already half theirs. It's already less. It's not that much. It's not that much. It's a decent rent. In another town or city, that 500 would be cheaper than a 1-bed anyway. So just put it into context there. They're not doing it based on what's fair. It's just a whole systemized thing. Now, in my circumstance, I have a child. I have a daughter. Now, I have her in the holidays. I used to have her weekends as well, but it's in the holidays. Clearly, she needs her own space. She needs a bedroom to come back to. Okay, she's not there all the time, but she still needs a bedroom. With me, I get deducted. They take, I think, about £50, £60 out of my money, even though I don't get a lot anyway. We get to that. I already get reduced. So they call it, it's not even sanctioned. It just gets reduced because it's bedroom housing costs, whatever. They just say you don't need it. And I'm like, and I've argued this with them. I've said, well, I do, because where is she supposed to sleep? She needs her space. The law, from my understanding, from what I've learned, The law, from what I've learned, is whoever receives the child, is it child benefit or child tax credit? I don't know which one. Whoever receives that, which parent, is the one entitled to the space for their child. That's the system. And that's what I'm talking about. If I don't come on here and talk, these things do not get recognized. I'm just talking from facts, from my own experience. And I said, in the future, I don't expect to be suffering. But right now I am. So let's talk while it's happening, you know? Yeah. That's not to say it won't be in the future. Maybe I will be struggling my whole life. You can't say for sure. But if you look at me, I don't seem like I'm, well, anyway. But anyway, so right now, money's hard. Yet they're deducting that from your what you're receiving, and it's every month they're doing this. They're always taking it off because she doesn't need a room. Tell me the logic. I've argued it; it doesn't get anywhere, and that's that Robert Jenrick that implemented this shit. So every time I see his name, I'm like, "You're a corrupt piece of shit." If I'm being honest, you know, I'd say that straight to his face as well. That's what the politicians are. You know, they always look like they're trying to do something. They're trying to do positive things in society. They don't care about people. If they cared about people, they wouldn't implement this shit. Why pick on the people who are struggling? Why pick on people that are struggling? People need a way out of their circumstance. That does not help you get a way out of your circumstance. That's one side of all of this. That guy I remember. I'll always remember that name. So there's that side. The other side that's corrupted with the benefit system is... Now, some people play a system. I don't play. So, you know, some people find loopholes. I don't know the loopholes. But for instance, you start with your payments. You have to wait, I think, like a month before you get anything. Now, people in this crisis, they need the money now. So then you're applying, and then they call it an advance. It's not an advance. It really should be what it is anyway. You've claimed, they should just pay it. They see it as a loan. You have to repay it every month out of the payments. So your payments are already low. People that think people on like universal credit or job seekers allowance, whatever you want to call it, they're getting loads of money. Some people are because they abuse the system. They found ways to apply to get everything. That's fine. That's up to them. You know, the average person isn't doing well on it. So you've already, like, from my circumstance, you're already losing from the housing element. Now some people say, "Oh, well, at least you're getting something." There's no top up though. There's no addition. Now, we're going to get further into this because I know people are going to have they're going to have like a say here, and I just want to make it clear there. So you're already losing the £50. You've got the advance for joining Universal Credit, but now they're going to take maybe £50 a month off that. So now you're losing it. Like, let's say now you're losing £100 already a month on a very low income that isn't even fit for purpose anyway. So when people were getting that extra £20 on Universal Credit and they said they're going to stop it, I think the majority of people thought that was like, you know, you shouldn't need all that, and you shouldn't need that anyway. They shouldn't be getting that. It's like, you don't understand? It was never enough in the first place. That was what was just that was like helping people a lot. Even though I know it's something stupid, it's not a big amount of money. And the other thing to think about that was during COVID, I was witnessing myself. During COVID, there was people who were getting their entire wages covered for extended periods. So they weren't working. They weren't working, just like other people weren't working. And yet I was on a very, very, very minimal amount of money, struggling just to go to the shop and things. You know, this is how you're living sometimes. And you had people who were getting full wages paid by the government because they weren't, because of COVID. And that didn't make sense to me at all. Like, how the hell are they on a full? Why do they get all that? And then we're all in the same position at that point. But that's what I'm trying to say, though. So people shouldn't sit on their high horse because they've benefited somewhere. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying feel bad about that, but it's like, just understand there's discrepancies here. It's like they're not helping people get out of the point is they're not helping people get out of their circumstance, but they're hammering you down and you don't realize how hard it is. Because when your finances are so low, it's really hard to attend anything. And I always call that with Universal Credit, like Job Centre, I call things tick boxes. These are things where they send you just to fulfill a criteria. But they're not even paying you enough to attend these things. Like, you're struggling already, and it's like asking you to spend the money that you could have used to go to an interview, for instance, or maybe you've got a different appointment, and they're making you waste it on these stupid sessions. So that maybe you've got to go down and talk to the job centre people, and they're useless anyway. They don't even tell you anything. It's just a waste of time, an absolute waste of time. And you've had to pay parking you haven't got. Let's say it's £3 parking. You think that's not a lot of money, but it adds up, you know, when you're struggling. It's like that could have gone towards this. And so again, I'm not raising awareness for pity's sake. I'm doing it to show people like what it's really like, because I think there's this perception that if you're on universal credit, everything's hunky dory. It's really shit. It really is absolutely terrible. Just trying to think of everything at the moment. It's really annoying. You do get a subsidised council tax. So you do get that. Like, for instance, I live alone, so I get a single rate. Everybody's entitled to single rate in the UK, even if you're working or not. So when I'm working, for instance, I still get a slightly reduced. It's still not fair. Single person discount should be 50%. Forget benefits at this point. Council tax, it should be 50%, because you've only got one income. I don't understand. You've got two people working in a coupled relationship. Let's just do the math. Let's just to make it a bit easier. I mean, I know it's more. Let's say, for instance, let's say it's £150 a month council tax. You've got two people earning that money, so each of them contributes £75 each. Okay, so it's costing each individual £75. There's no point people going, I'm paying 150. No, you're not. You're paying 75 each. Now, if your partner isn't paying it, they're probably paying towards something else. But either way, between two people, your contribution is £75 each. So when you think, oh, I'm paying 150, no, you're not. You're paying £75 each. That's how much you're paying per month. But it's easy to think, oh, the other numbers. When you're working, for instance, let's say you're not receiving any benefits and you're a single person, you get a 25% discount. So I was going to do the maths there. It's going to be a little bit easier. 25. I'm just going to average it about 40 quid. Let's just say it's about 40. It's probably about 35, 40 quid. So you got, I think. So anyway, you got £150, and it's going to cost each of you £75 in a coupled relationship. If you're single and living alone, you're going to have to pay £110. So the people paying 150 total think it's not fair that you're getting it for 110. Why am I paying 150? You're not paying 150. You're paying 75 each. But I would have to pay 110. How's that fair? The system is not built for single people, for starters. It's absolute shit. Everything's shit, isn't it? So anyway, normally 110. But because you're on universal credit for something, they reduce it. It used to be you didn't pay it. But I don't know why. Maybe they reached a point where they just couldn't afford to not have people paying. I don't know. But you don't get enough money in your allowance to cover this shit. You got to understand that has to cover your food, which is the most important part. Of course, you've still got to be able to cover your rent. You've got to pay all your your electricity bill. It's no cheaper for people on electricity. It's still the same electricity bill. Still got to pay your water bill. You still got to pay every other bill, and you don't even get anywhere near enough. So the council tax on top is just like a joke. It's like, how the hell are you expecting people to pay that? So let's say it would normally cost £110 as a single person. Now you've got to pay 100. Now you've got to pay 40 instead. But you're already getting that a fraction of what you would have got normally at work. Now, no one's saying you'll be on it long term, but it's like for a period of your life, it's hard. Like, how are you supposed to find this money? So of course that's one of them. There was some other things I was going to discuss there. So another one, of course, is when you if you go on ESA, for instance, employment support allowance, what they do, until you've had your assessment, they deduct off of your universal credit. So whatever you're getting on universal credit, for instance, and you get off of ESA, they would deduct the ESA payment off your universal credit. Effectively, you're still getting about the same amount of money. It's just split in different ways. So effectively, if you got sanctioned on universal credit, it shouldn't affect ESA. So there's a little bit of leeway there. But overall, you don't really get it. ESA pays monthly. I mean, ESA pays every 2 weeks, whereas universal credit every month. So I've had a back problem since it's been getting on. It's been getting worse, progressively worse, right? Now, I've never said I can't work entirely. I've never said that. What I've always said is I struggle with heavy lifting now because my back, and I don't know if it's a muscle problem or if it was a spine. Like, is it bones? I don't know. And I've been trying to get physiotherapy for ages. It kept getting cancelled because there was flooding apparently in the centre that I was supposed to go, and there was a huge backlog. And I think personally they were knocking people off the list on purpose because they were trying to get it back under control. Because they were supposed to, every time they sent a text, you were supposed to just reply the text to say, yes, I'm still interested. I did that, and then about a day later, they did the same text. And I thought, well, I don't have to do it. Surely I don't have to text again. I just did it. And then I got taken off. I did the whole application again, and that was a joke. So look, again, I'm not looking for pity. I just think it's important we have transparency. I've been asking for things for my back for a long time. I've been bothering the doctor. I wanted an X-ray, or what is the other ones you get? There's some other ones because I got like my mum worked at the hospital, so she's got friends that have similar issues, and they've had is it MRI? I don't know what it is, but they have this CT scan. They've had scans, and then they actually can find things. So like doctor might not think it's a big deal, and then they get a scan. There's a problem, right? So I'm thinking, I'd like this done. I want to know what the extent of my back is because I can deal with pain. So if you tell me it's just a muscle related injury or something, I can put up with pain. If it hurts, it hurts. But I don't want to make it to a point where you have a serious issue. So I have to take that serious. It's your health. I won't lie about anything, and that's my downfall, like serious downfall. And that's why I'm talking about it right now. And I wasn't going to do the video, but I think it's really important to talk about it because if you lie and you exaggerate something, you might get away with things. And then, but the real problem I have with that is it means that people who are genuine are missing out on the support they need or deserve, or what's fair. Because it's not fair. It's really, really not. I won't lie. So if someone says, "Can you hold a kettle?" Yeah, I can hold a kettle. My problem is my back, not my arms. You know, my back hurts. Like it's hurting now. It's aching now. But okay, again, if it's muscle, it's muscle. You know. But as soon as I start lifting or doing things rigorously, it's going to start hurting. It's going to exasperate it, and then it's going to hurt for longer periods. And it's like that's the condition. If you're asking me, can you lift this? I can lift this. I can lift this. I can move my arms for God's sake. You go for an assessment. If you can do any of these things, you're okay. It's like that's not what I'm saying, though, is it? I'm saying I can't do the physical activities of a warehouse, for instance. That's a completely different thing to me just standing here doing this. If I can do light duties. So anyway, usually there's a crossover point and it becomes a problem, and this is where mine is right now. So I did everything right. I went for my assessment. I have no issue with the assessor. I think they were fair. We had a very honest conversation. The decisions that get made after is outside of my control. It's outside of their control for one way or another. So now it's been deemed you're capable of work. And it's like, okay, you think I can work. That's fine. But I'm still not going to do anything heavy. So you're not going to get me doing anything that's going to hurt myself. I had physio recently, which was useful, but not entirely practical because I thought about it after. I thought they were nice enough. They gave me some exercises to do. But I thought I've had physio in the past and they actually did stuff. You know, they actually worked on the back and got rid of the tension in the back. But I had physio before. I had about 4 sessions and one of them really hurt. Like it caused me more pain for a week. And the other times, it didn't actually solve the problem. I went back to a job and it actually caused me, I was hurting like crazy when I went back. It didn't take long for it to escalate. So it didn't fix it. And this one I had recently was just an assessment, really. They didn't actually do anything. It just gave me exercises to do. So, like they said, you've got a lot of tension in your back to the left side. It's predominantly on your left side. There could be a bulging disc, but overall, it's just an awful lot of tension all the way down the left side of your back with the muscle. But they didn't do anything to alleviate that tension, so it's still there, which is why it's tight and why it hurts. So, like for them, they weren't saying you're not in pain and it's not going to cause you issues. Because even I said about like going back and doing other, like she goes, well, you know, if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same result. It's going to keep happening. So again, there is a practical side to this because I knew at the beginning of this video, people are going to say, well, just get a job, just get a job, It's not just as simple as that. Our health matters. So it's not about being lazy. It's about trying to find the right opportunity. You know, I recently got my forklift license back. You know, let's say back, you have to renew it. And a lot of mine were in-house. So I went to a proper place, got an RTITB license, which is the one that's nationally recognised. I think it's actually worldwide recognised, RTITB. I got that in counterbalance. I could do with a reach one, but Universal Credit don't want to pay that. I had to do that privately, the other one. I'm not doing all of them. It's just one of those things. You look for counterbalance, you get the counterbalance license, all of a sudden everyone's looking for reach drivers or bendy drivers, you know? It's like, well, I can't afford to do all the tests, and the jobs, the Universal Credit don't want to fund nothing. So what do you do with that one? But anyway, because of the situation with my back, they're now saying, "Oh, you can do things now." And I'm like, that's your decision, you know. But bear in mind, I just wanted to know one way or another whether it was a thing anyway. So like, if I can do stuff, then great. I want to do stuff. You know, I've always said that I don't want to not. But going into this month, which is why I wasn't going to talk about it because I was really pissed. I've got like £300 for the whole month. like literally, and I've already lost about half of that already on the bills, and there's already bills coming out. Or the first, we've got Monday coming when the bills are going to fly out, and then they're going to get returned again, and then that's going to happen all month. Like there's bills, I get bills scattered throughout the month because the ESA was every 2 weeks. So I was trying to figure it out. Like, okay, if the ESA comes in then I can cover that one. The ESA comes in then, cover that one. But I have to live now on this month on a very low level, like ridiculously low. And like I said, we're going to talk about it. But normally I can figure a way out of it. But this one, I can't figure my way out of it. It's too low. And I'm like, so I've sent a message like, how the hell are you expecting me to survive on this then? Because how did you calculate this cost when I've just lost that and the money hasn't gone up? Like, it doesn't make sense. And they're going to want you to attend things, and I have to tell them to go and do one because I'm temperamental as shit. Like, I'm already on low. You can't make it much lower. I'm already low, mate. You can't do much more to me. There's no way they're going to make me attend appointments when you've got to try and pay for the parking and the fuel, and I haven't got it. And I'm going to want that money for genuine interviews. You know, that's the thing. Like, I know there's some people out there that pretend they're applying for things. I'm genuinely looking for things. I'm looking for things. I have turned down jobs in the past. I'm not saying I'm not at fault. You know, but I didn't know the extent of my back. So I was getting offered opportunities, but I didn't know the extent of my back. And the conditions weren't that great. And I'm like, no, I'll find something when I need to. But right now, there's extenuating circumstances. Like for one of them, I felt the hours were ridiculously long for what you was doing. For instance, it was 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. You might think that's fine, but for me, that's 10 hours. If you're doing 10 hours, you might as well do a 12-hour job. I might as well find a 4 on 4 off job at that point. Why work Monday to Friday and get Saturday, Sunday off when you can do 4 on 4 off for just 2 hours longer? It didn't make sense. So that was stupid. Another one I went to, it was actually heavy work when they weren't saying it was heavy work. It was supposed to be forklift. They had 13 forklift drivers and 2 forklifts for the department. And I was like, well, that's not what I signed up for. But you're trying to see the positives. The canteen area wasn't even a proper canteen. It was literally on the floor, the area. They just put boards around it. And I thought, that's just ridiculous. You know, that's not peaceful. Like, come on, you got to work all day and still be stuck around the area. And then there was nowhere to put your personal belongings. They didn't give you a locker. You were supposed to put on a chair. And I was like, for security reasons, that's not good. So anyway, there's extenuating circumstances. I know people say, oh, if you're struggling. Yeah, I wasn't struggling too bad then. It was struggling, but not to this extent. This is what I'm getting at. There was another one. It was an hour away. It's an hour there, hour back. But it was 4 on 4 off, but it was 12-hour shifts. But I was like, wait a minute. You got to get up at 4 a.m. You won't get home till 7 p.m. Where's the life in that? I know you get 4 on 4 off, but I just thought that's going to push you to madness because you're just going to have dinner and go to bed. And you've got to go and do another 12 hours? That's a lot. If you live local, it's fine, but I thought that was too far. There was that one I said was 7 a.m. till 5. You actually had to have a hairnet. You had to wear this hairnet, and because I've a little stubble here, I had to. Yeah, they expect you to have a hairnet around your face as well. That's what you'd have to look like all day. Now, I'm not saying it's not practical, but you still have to be realistic in life. I think people expect you to do anything, and sometimes it's like that's not. You know, you still have to have that. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a balance, and I get it. I do get it when people say just take anything, take anything. It's like I get that, but then you lock yourself into anything, don't you? So, like, if you find yourself in a place that's miserable, it's going to be really hard later on to get yourself out. And that's the thing people don't think. It's like just do that for now. Well, be practical. Be practical. This is the thing people are not. It's like, let's say you did that one, 7 in the morning till 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, and you've got to wear that stupid hairnet around your face. It's quite long-winded hours, I think, personally. I'd rather do 7 till 3 or something like that. I think, 6 till 2, 7 till 3, whatever. But anyway, let's say you did 7 till 5. And you go, well, okay, do that for now, and you can find something later. That's Monday to Friday, 7 till 5. How are you going to find something later? Where the hell are you going to fit an interview in? This is the thing people don't think. That's where you get locked into these really, really toxic environments. So you do, even in a crisis, you still have to have your mindset right. You still have to sort of have some standards here. Because like just holding on for a week or two, or even a month, may be enough to find the thing you actually make you excited and happy to go to, and then you can flourish. So yeah, okay, in that crisis, it's partly your fault, maybe entirely your fault, but you still always have your freedom. So that's really part of what I want to show people there. But I want to show people just the disparity in money, because believe me, I know if I lie, I can get a lot more. I could do well. Anyone can. That's the system. You can apply for PIP if you can make it clear that you can barely move and do all this stupid shit, and you can act like you're an absolute invalid. And it's like, yeah, but I'm honest. Can you walk to the end of your road? Yeah, I can walk to the end of my road. They paint a picture. I'm not immobile. It's just that when it comes to lifting, like repeatedly lifting, it hurts, and if it's heavy, it hurts. So it makes it really hard in the industry that I've worked in, where it's forklift and warehouse. A lot of the time, the forklift now is no longer just forklift. A lot of the time, there's actually manual duties. That's where it's going to cause me problems. So, like I make the point, you go somewhere, you get an injury, you're going to be back to square one again. It doesn't work. You really need to fix the problem, which is kind of like help me fix my back. But the NHS, for instance, for some reason, they don't seem interested. It seems to be they're just giving you workouts to try and do at home. It's like, that's not fixing it. And they still haven't scanned my back, so there's still no guarantee. Like you can take their word for it and use their expertise and say, look, I hope you're right that it's just muscle related. But if let's say it isn't, they're risking me having permanent issues with my back. That's my problem. I'm not trying to play off anything. If I was trying to play off anything, I'd say I can't even walk. I'm not saying I can't walk. But I just wanted to raise awareness, really, for what it is for some people on universal credit and low incomes, because I think you'll find there's people very much like myself who are having to sort of like try to navigate through periods of life. Now, I don't expect my life to be like this. In fact, in a month's time, coming into July and things, I don't expect to be struggling. Anything can happen at any moment. I work my ass off, to be honest. Look at the books I'm doing. I'm still working on my next books. I have multiple manuscripts. I do so many videos. I'm not a lazy individual. I deserve to be successful and thriving in what I've done. I've got no doubt about it. I was reading someone recently bought one of my books. I thought, I'll read it. I'll read it as well. I literally just sat and read it. I think I've got an idea who it is that bought the book, to be totally honest, but I'm not going to sort of say that. But I've been reading it. Look, I'm already like near the end of it. In one day, I just sat there and blitzed it. I think it takes about 6 hours to read or something. I don't know. But I've just, this is my finished book. It's my smallest book, Heartbroken Daughter. But I was reading it. And I thought, that's bloody good. Do you know what I mean? I was like reading it going, that was actually been successful. Because sometimes I don't read my work for a while. And I know they're good, but you don't realise how good. And then I read them and I'm like, that's bloody powerful. That's good. That's a good book. So there's no reason why other people are making a living off of this, So it's not like I'm doing nothing here. I'm working my ass off in different capacities. But my life is never easy. It's like I've always got to keep doing multiple things. So when I do find another job and I've got to go back into traditional work to get the income coming in. See, at the moment, people can say, oh, you're lazy, do this, do that. Well, that's the interesting thing, because once I'm working full-time, I'm now working twice as hard as the average person because I'm working on books, I'm still doing my videos, and I've got a job. So I'm actually working more than other people because they're only doing the job. I've had that in the workplaces. You're going to work, they're going home doing whatever they want, and I'm going home. I was studying at the time as well, so I was doing a university course. And so I was doing that, and I'm working on my books at the same time. So, yeah, I'm far from lazy. So anyone wants to try and target and say all these things, it's like you're just projecting. This isn't about projecting. This is just about showing the discrepancies in the system and how it really screws people up. Because I don't think it's fair that you get taken off of ESA, which was which was already reducing, which is the reason your universal credit was reduced. So let's say universal credit, you get £700 a month. I mean, it's obviously going to depend on your rent. My rent isn't particularly high. It's a housing association, so council homes, so it's cheaper. So the rent's lower. So let's say it's £700 a month for the universal credit. It's still not enough, by the way, because I'm already getting reduced with my... You don't get enough anyway. They don't. It's nowhere near enough. I think it's about £300 a month for universal credit. It might even be less than that, just for the basic side away from your rent. How the hell do you pay all your bills and food on that? That's just crazy. Anyway, it is a joke. So yeah, so mine gets... So instead of giving me the lump sum there, they take the ESA side off. Bosh. So they're taking that off. We'll only pay you this, and then you get the other payments in 2 weeks. But at the same time, they're not pressuring you all the time because at least you've got some leeway because you're not having to keep attending loads of shit or then breathing down your neck. But then when you come off ESA, they haven't returned that money back. It'll only happen at maybe July's payment. So let's say you tick all the boxes for universal credit in June. That whatever they want you to do, you do. There's no issues. Come the end of June, so July's payment, yeah, you'll go back to normal. But then you've still got to keep doing what they want you to do, which isn't always beneficial to anyone. It's a tick box exercise, which I've already explained, which is just wasting your money and time just to fulfill their quotas of shit. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll put you on stupid courses. I've already got a CV resume. It does get attention. It's just at the moment, like I was looking yesterday, there's no jobs at the moment. They're all too far. Like I've tried going a bit further, and they don't accept you anyway because they know you're too far. They just decline you. More local places do accept. I do quite well with that. So I've got no problem with my CV. If anything, if they could fund me doing my reach truck, that would help me with the reach jobs. But they don't want to fund that. They want to send you on the CV courses. I don't need the CV course. I just need to. Do you see what I mean? Like the system isn't fit for purpose. If they want to get you in places, they should be supporting what's needed to get you in those places. And it isn't. And that's why I'm talking about this. This isn't about people feeling sorry for me or going, how hard is his life? It's not. It's saying this is not just happening to me, is it? This is the system. It's messed up. And that's what I talk about. I talk in general about all those sort of things, I wouldn't, I'm not embarrassed about my circumstances. It's a temporary period of my life. It's a moment. But it's a real learning experience, isn't it? Because I'm living through it. And I've been through these circumstances multiple times in my life. So it's not news for me. I'm used to it, but it doesn't make it fair. It doesn't make it easy. Because like I said, you get people who lie. I've had family members who lie and exaggerate. Now, their condition has worsened, so now they are in situations where they genuinely need it. But there were periods in their life when they didn't. In periods when they exaggerated things, so when they went to an appointment, it was completely fabricated, and they got all the benefits you could think about. I was never interested in that. I'm not lying. So you ask me a question, and I'm always honest. And it's like if I don't get something based on that, then there's nothing I can do about it. And I always get declined, but I'll always tell the truth. So I just take the hits and say, "This is the life you're." Because at the end of the day, this is a reflection of the criteria they've created. They're making it so the people who abuse the system get a very easy life, and then they're making the system to those who genuinely need it for a period are suffering heavily, like heavily suffering. It is. I'm a very strong, resilient person, even like sometimes it really hammers at me. And I can't help but think if someone wasn't as resilient, how much that would really destroy them. Because I think it does. It can really mess with your self-esteem, your quality of life, your outlook on life, and it really it can be like a catalyst for ruining your future because you wasn't given the support when you needed it. And that's the thing. It's just not. There's no support. So, it is a mess, isn't it? But like I say, anything can happen at any moment. So although it's a crisis today, in a week's time, like, okay, there's nothing available at the minute. Let's say I have a look middle of the week next week, and let's say things are popping up. Let's say I get an interview. All of a sudden, you don't know. Like in 2 weeks' time, you could be working somewhere, couldn't you? So I don't think it's not out of the realms of possibility. You know what I mean? I think things will turn around because I want them to turn around. And like I say, I do a video today and people can have a real bad opinion of it, but it's like, because people do tend to be negative. And yet you see me 6 months, a year from now, and I'll be thriving, doing quite well. And there'll be people popping up, seeing the video, probably then not realizing who you are, what you're doing. And they'll probably still be like complaining and moaning. And it's like, mate, we all struggle at some point in life. It's life. It's like, don't be quick to judge people's circumstances. And don't project too quickly onto people either. Just because you say other people have settled for things that make them miserable doesn't mean other people should. I understand there's a means to an end, but we still have to be pragmatic and realistic and say, look, is that short-term gain, how much damage long-term is that short-term gain going to cause? That's really important too. Can I get through this crisis by holding off just a little and making more of a long-term decision? That's the thing. So like, for instance, you could throw yourself into something you really hate. It's going to destroy your body, destroy your mind. And maybe you can start in a week. Or maybe you just wait and you can start something in 3 weeks and you'll have a far more balanced life and it'll make you happy and it'll be more, if they reward you more, maybe you get paid more. I think some things are just worth waiting for a little bit longer. So sometimes you have to just like navigate the crisis, if you like. Doesn't make it easy. And of course, when you're missing bills, it affects your credit rating, and it can have long term. That's why I think the credit rating system's flawed to shit, because you can have a period of your life that's a bit uncertain. It's a bit worrying, and I think like we have certain periods like this, don't we? And it's like, for me, this is this month. That's fine. It's life. But there's going to be a period when you're thriving again, and then you're going to look and go, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. Maybe you're getting declined for things when you're thriving. It's like, there's no reason to decline me. But, there was a period there that was struggling. It's too much of that where everybody's expected to be perfect. Otherwise, there's repercussions. Now, I probably haven't discussed every little thing. It's hard for me to think off the topic because I don't. Again, I say this all the time. I don't make notes. It's just like I've thought about it, and I just really wanted to discuss it. And I think the way I carry myself probably hides the level of stress that I have to manage, because I am a resilient person. So I'm just quite pragmatic. Like I said, I was really pissed about it a couple of hours ago, an hour ago, or whatever. I was fuming. I was really fed up, and I thought, how the hell am I going to figure this out? But I'm someone, especially through life, I've been through enough in life to not let things just bury me. It's just not worth it. So, for instance, let's say you can have company after company now just constantly send you threatening letters. Like, you missed this payment, they're going to exaggerate the shit out of it, make it sound like it's the worst thing in the world. There's going to be enforcement action, blah blah blah. It's like, no, there's not. There's always like a grace period. There's always a period where it can be sorted. There's always a payment plan that can be done. There's always a way to figure this out. Don't keep acting like it's the end of the world just because something was missed. But that's what companies do. They put pressure on you, so it makes you feel like life's lost meaning in a sense because it can get that heavy. But then the other side of that, of course, is what's the point of ruining your day over something you can't really control at the moment? So like I could go through the whole month just stressed as shit. I could be like, this is too much. This is too much. This is too much. Well, making myself suffer isn't going to solve a problem, and it doesn't make it does it. You don't have to make yourself feel pain to validate the experience. It's bad. I recognize it's bad. It's going to be freaking hard. I understand it's hard. But I'm not going to make myself miserable in a period of misery because there's no point. So it's not being lazy. It's being pragmatic. I can only control what I can control. And I'm going to do my best to mitigate this situation. I'm going to try my best to get out of this situation. But I can only do what I can with the tools being dealt. You can't take a job if there's no job. Which is really weird because like a month ago, there was plenty. Now, all of a sudden, they've dried up. But it does this, You could look, again, like I said, you could look in a week and there could be plenty. So it's just about reacting when the opportunities are there. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I don't expect to be struggling for long. It's just a period, It's a bit annoying with the summer holidays really fast approaching now. Because that's a stress because that's the pressure. The pressure comes from really, I think, moments of significance, isn't it? But yeah, the benefit system is an absolute pile of shit. In all honesty, it doesn't benefit people who actually need the help. Like I said, I get in bedroom taxed. You're getting you having to repay stupid things you shouldn't have to repay. Even if you want any support, for instance, I could probably contact the Universal Credit and say, look, this is a joke. They might go, well, you might be able to apply for a hardship payment. This is what they will say because they've said it to me before. Some people, for some reason, get hardship payments for free because they look at you and they say, right, yeah, you're struggling. You shouldn't be struggling like that. It's below the threshold that should be fair, like it should be reasonable living standard or something. And they might say, right, okay, because you haven't received your full payment, we can pay a percentage of, and they might top it up. That's something that can happen. With me, when they've done it before, it's been considered a loan. So maybe they give you an extra £120 or something. I don't know. But now you've got to keep deducting that out of your other payments. And of course, once you start working, it's not coming out of them payments anymore. Now you've got to go back and set up a repayment plan to repay all of these monies that have been given to you from even though these are things that should have been there in the first place. Do you see what the problem is? It's not. It goes beyond the universal credit. It goes even into your working life. You've got to start repaying some of it, even though other people have got handouts all the time for free. They've abused the system. So you get people who do things fair, they get really, really slapped in the face big time. They struggle while they're on the system, and they're even getting pressured outside of the system, like serious pressure, because it's government money. So it can come with sort of fines. I don't have fines, but it can come with court proceedings and all sorts of shit, and attachment to earnings and all sorts of things. And yet, if you're lying, you can get all the benefits, and you'll just keep hemorrhaging for years. Where's the fairness? It's not. It's absolutely sick. So yeah, like I said, I could have not done the video, and I could just act like everything's fine. Or I could spend a period, just talk about the crisis right now, raise awareness of it, and maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in the future, maybe someone will see something and then they'll think, yeah, the system's flawed. We need to look into that. Because if we don't talk about it, nothing changes. Implementing this bedroom tax for me was one of the worst things they could have done. It was just a way to I don't know why they did that. It was ridiculous. You're going to get a lot of single parents, going through the same thing I'm experiencing right now with that same thing. Now, I don't know if councils have discretion or people could get help with that, but I've never received support with it. Everyone I've spoke to said, no, there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. It's like, oh, that's great. So I have to lose money, make it harder for my life because my daughter's not home. Now, when you're working, this is the thing people don't understand, because some people hear the word bedroom tax and they think, well, that's not fair. Like, but it's like they don't think, they think it's all the time. And I said, no, it's only when you're getting benefits. If you're working, you just pay your rent, don't you? You don't. No one says you've got to pay extra rent. It's just when you're needing support, you lose support effectively. So when you get a standard cost of living, which is really, it's not even the cost of living. It's when you look at inflation, it doesn't go on with inflation at all. It doesn't cover the bills at all. It's not enough. And then they got the cheek to take some off it. So then how the hell are you going to pay that? You know, and it's look, I understand it's a really polarizing thing, benefit system, because there's some people who will have a real negative opinion of it because people are abusing it. And I absolutely see it. I've seen that. And they'll consider it lazy. I get it. And there'll be people who, understand that people go through crises in life. Nothing's guaranteed, nothing's certain. Not everybody's made the best decisions. Not everybody's had the same opportunities. I think you have to understand that it's not always a choice. Sometimes self-inflicted, and I can agree with that. But I wouldn't say that's all the time either. So not everybody's built the same. For instance, I never really had education on finances, and I recognise that's my own flaw. There's a naivety, and I'll actually own up to that, and I'll say absolutely, that's my own fault. I saw someone's comment in a video recently and said, if people seriously having nothing in their bank account, how the hell is that possible? And I read that comment and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Like, why is it? How the hell is that possible? Like, I'm like that. But I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's a valid answer. How the hell is that possible? And I thought about it to myself. Once you're in crisis, so once life's hard, it's really hard to get out of it. At least in that period. Like that. Now, if you make better decisions in future, let's say you're starting to earn, you're starting to do well for yourself, better for yourself. Don't spend the money like a lunatic and start saving it, and you can get to about that £1,000 at least saved, and that's your zero. That's a good place to get to. People in a crisis, it's hard to get out of a crisis. And of course, usually people who are poor spend their money on different things. And of course, these are things you don't necessarily need, but you want, or it's something just to help with a circumstance. It is what it is. But I think, even though that comment sounded spiteful, I think it was valid. How can anybody be living on zero? And I thought, yeah, that's a choice, isn't it? For the most part. Again, depending on what stage of life you're at. Once you're doing well, there's no reason for you ever to go back into zero. There's no need to ever go back into zero. Because if you save enough, you should have a contingency in place. And I think as we get older, we shouldn't really ever find ourselves so low. So yeah, I definitely am responsible for an awful lot of my problems, and I'll take ownership of that for sure. Yeah, I'll take ownership. I'm not here to sit. I don't have pity parties. I don't sit here and say everything's anybody else's fault. But I do think the system should be there to support. So like, if you go back to the job I left, I was getting really good money. Again, it's hurt my back. Why would you leave a good job if you didn't need to? Do you know what I mean? That's my point. If I didn't need to, I wouldn't have left, would I? Again, it was contingent, other circumstances around it, but overall. But I was getting really good money there. Like, like from 1 month to the next, I was just treating myself to all sorts. I was buying computer stuff. I was like every month, like treating myself to loads of shit. And in hindsight, after I left, I had to start selling some of the stuff to recoup some of the money because the universal credit wasn't helping. It was a crisis. So I managed to start selling some of the stuff I bought. And it was only after that you're looking, thinking, God damn. Because you don't, a lot of time we live in the moment. That's the problem. With a lot of people, they live in the moment, not looking towards the future. So the future doesn't matter as long as I'm okay, like whatever I want now. But we don't know what's down the road. And of course, when you're doing well, you naturally think it's always going to last, which is why some people really, really take a dim view of people struggling because they naturally think they're always going to be on the up. Then they'll find themselves in a crisis. It might even be a health concern. Let's say you don't have health cover. Well, I know some jobs do. Let's say you don't. Now you've got to go on benefits. It's going to be hard to hit going from higher wages to these low income. And then you realize what it's like, and it's not easy at all. But yeah, had I saved some of that money when I was doing well, I would never have found myself in the crisis I find myself now. So that is my fault, isn't it? Of course, it's my fault. I should have been saving. And I think, again, if that's something we can all learn from each other, is to start really accounting for ourselves and start building towards our future. That would be really, really wise, wouldn't it? So yeah, there's things we can learn, and I think we learn from experience. And I think that's the thing. I think sometimes we have to learn from our own experiences. You know, if someone had told me when I was younger this and that, I don't sure I'd have listened. There's a naivety with it, and it's almost this. So especially when you're younger, it's I don't look. That happened to you. I don't think it's going to happen to me. And then that's another thing, isn't it? But anyway, I know this has been long video, so I don't want to keep talking. I've seen it says 50 minutes now, so it's quite freaking long. Hopefully, I've covered enough. And like I said, it's look, people can have their own opinions, and I don't mind one way or another. And it's people want to. I'd say just be productive though. There's no point just people being just absolutely lunatics just for the sake of being a lunatic. So have some compassion for people's circumstances and understand that things happen at different stages of our life, but things can turn around too. So like I said, I'm in a real crisis right now. Do I expect to be by the end of the year? Absolutely not. By the end of the year, I'm going to be doing pretty great for myself. I've got no doubt about that. It's just a period of a month or two. At this crisis moment, it's been a crisis all year. It's not been easy all year, but now it's reached a point. It's reached critical. And effectively, sometimes when things reach critical, it gives you a chance to reflect, I think, and then make different decisions. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be on all this shit forever. I didn't want to anyway. This is the thing with me. Part of me deep down didn't even want to be approved for ESA. I don't want to be on benefits my whole life. I've got better aspirations for myself. I just want to make sure my back's capable of doing what is needed to progress. That's all. That's all I've asked for. Is I just wanted the physiotherapy and I wanted to have the assessments on my back. They won't do the bloody assessments on my back. And the physiotherapy was just an assessment. But based on the way they were talking to me and the way they described the anatomy of your back and the way they were doing the pressure points on me, I felt confident they knew what they were talking about. Now, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But I felt confident enough that I actually feel like, okay, now I can start applying for some things. Even if there's a little bit, if there's a little bit of strenuous work, I think I handle it. If it's heavy lifting all day, like you're in a container throwing loads of shit, there's no way I'm doing that anymore. I've done that in the past, which is partly what caused my problems. I know the capacity here. If it's lift a few bits in the job, okay, I can handle that. And that's the thing. So I'm not here to sort of say, oh, I'm immobile, because I'm not immobile, and I hope my back gets stronger and recovers. Anyway, again, and I mean, maybe that's the difference between me and a lot of people. They like to act like the victim, and they like to just play on things. I've never said that. I've just wanted to get my back sorted. And when decisions get made, you can argue the decisions. For instance, you can make an appeal thing, and drag it out. But I'm not interested in that shit. It's like I'm not fighting. I can't be bothered with the fighting all this shit. It's like, to be honest, I had the assessment before I had the physio. So once I had the physio, and to be honest, the physio isn't even repaired yet. The physio is a case of they've given me exercises to do, and in 6 weeks, if your back's still not recovered, they'd make another appointment. But the referral is open for 6 months. So they're not saying your back doesn't hurt. It's just It's just not like a medical emergency or anything. So it's not. So I think it's something you can learn to work with and try to heal, but try not to keep repeating the same things that did it. It's, again, don't put yourself in these heavy environments. So if I can find something that works, but it is irritating when I've got this other side to me that I feel should be successful, and I shouldn't even be in those places. But anyway, I think if we don't talk about these things, then nothing changes in society, does it? So I could not necessarily hid, but I could have just kept this side to myself, recovered, not said a damn thing, fix the situation. In a month or two, things are improving, and no one's the wiser. And I could have just done that and not talked about it. But I thought, no, because there's going to be other people suffering too. And I think education's important. For good and bad, I think educating those who are struggling to know they can get out of it. Be pragmatic. There's no point beating yourself up. But I think also show other people that, you can sit on your high horse and judge people, but the thing is, not everybody's the same. Our circumstances are unique. It's different for all of us. And yeah, sometimes things are self-inflicted to an extent, but sometimes some things are outside our control as well. And sometimes just something isn't fair, And a lot of time people will figure that out for themselves when they go through a crisis. And the reality is, if we don't speak up about it, when someone else goes through a crisis, nothing's changed. Not that I expect anything to change anyway, because politicians are politicians. They just gloss over things, and they cause absolute chaos. But anyway, that's my current circumstance.